Okay, so thank you everyone for coming tonight. Today we are gonna talk about how to get involved in local congenital heart disease programs and support groups, and a little bit about the Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh Heart Camp, and sort of go from there. If you have any questions, you can use the chat. If you have other questions, you can email them to our perinatal cardiology email, and we will bring or send them to the correct person. So first speaker tonight is Keith McIntyre. He is going to talk about Heart Camp and all the wonderful things that they do for everyone. And I will let him share his screen and we'll go from there.
All right, Jenny, I'm hitting the share screen button, but my screen's not popping up. You're staying on the screen.
Okay, now can you share?
It says the host disabled participant screen sharing.
I made you a co-host, so you should be able to do it. Now will it?
There we go.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Keith McIntyre, and I'm the director of the Dr. Bill Netjes Heart Camp for Kids. And I just want to share a little bit about my story first before I jump into Heart Camp and Family Camp and the Turner Picnic. I was born in 1959 with tetralogy of Fallot with absent pulmonary leaflets. And I'm actually one of children's oldest heart patients they've followed since birth. When I was born with tetralogy of Fallot, the average lifespan was 30 seconds to 3 months after birth. Now they're operating on these kids when they're 3 days old and starting to make the corrections. These are just some pictures of me. This actually is first pictures right before my first surgery at 9 months old. And then as I progressed along the way, this is actually, I don't know, many of you probably don't even know this show called Ricky and Copper, but I was on the Ricky and Copper show when I was a tiny boy. I've been on the forefront of a lot of pediatric cardiology firsts. I had one of the first pediatric heart catheterizations in the 1960s. I had the first porcine or pig valve inserted into a pediatric heart in 1975. And then 8 years later, I had that valve replaced with a mechanical valve, which is an aortic valve. And it was put in my pulmonary position, and that's the valve I still have till today. Also, prior to that surgery, though, I went on an outward bound survival course with one of the surgeons and the cardiologist at Children's Hospital. And we were actually the first group of cardiac patients ever to be taken on an outward bound survival course. I then was asked to be the first patient advocate in the Heart-to-Heart Family Support Group. Some of you may have heard about the Turner Picnic, and I'll talk a little bit about it later, but that is one component of the Family Support Group. And of course, then I was one of the founders of the Dr. Bill Netjes Heart Camp for Kids 33 years ago. Dr. Bill Netjes, believed that it was real important to bring kids together that had like heart defects and diseases. And the first year we brought together 30 kids, actually 15 boys, 15 girls, ages 8 to 15. And now we pull together around 150 kids a year with congenital or acquired heart disease. It's a week-long camp. They stay overnight. It's supervised by cardiologists, nurses, respiratory therapists, child life workers, and counselors. And the counselors are heart patients. Just some of the things we do at camp. Now, of course, every kid comes, they bring their own meds, and we separate them out, and they're assigned a nurse. And nurses and a group of nurses take care of them throughout the week. But you can see just some of almost everybody you see in these pictures are heart patients, even some of these bigger people. And there's some of the things we do. We have Arts and Crafts Center, we have canoeing, we do archery, high ropes course, swimming, fishing. Basically what we do is we do everything that quote unquote normal kids do when they go to summer camp. Just some more shots of camp fun. We have a dance, we have a carnival, we have a rappelling and rock climbing wall. We just keep these kids going from 7 a.m. till 10 p.m. every day. Tell you a little bit about Heart Camp, Family Camp. It was something that I introduced several years ago, and it's a 24 introduction to Heart Camp. It's, families don't really know what they're going to do. They're not sure if they're going to send their kid to camp or not. So we do a 24-hour introduction. So everything you saw in those previous photos, we try to cram it in one day. Families arrive early on a Saturday morning and they stay through Sunday morning. And basically it's the day in the life of Heart Camp. One of the other family events also is the Heart to Heart Turner Dairy Farm Picnic. Turner Dairy got involved with Children's Hospital well over 40 years ago. And they're one of our big supporters of camp. And of course, every year they hold a picnic out at their property. They haven't done it for the past 2 years due to COVID, but hopefully they'll get back into it. It's usually the second Sunday in September, and their farm is located in Slickville, Pennsylvania, which is out near Delmont and Murraysville. So really, why Jenny asked me to talk to you is really to provide you some hope. I mean, I've been around for a long time, and there's a lot of young adults who are now, surviving like myself and doing wonderful things. They're nurses. We have doctors. We have kids who are working side by side in the ORs, helping to put VADs in. They're engineers. There's just so many wonderful things that have come out of camp and out of all the other support groups. And so we're going to try to play a video. I'm not sure if it's going to work. We'll give it a shot. And it's a video about Heart Camp. So let me see if I can get it to work. And Jenny, just tell me if it's not working.
I can try. Let me see. I'm going to share my screen and see if I can.
Is it working? No.
Let me see. Well, that's okay, let me see. Let me stop sharing. I have it up. Let's see. View. Let me bring it up. Okay, let's see if I can do it now. Because it's a great video for everyone to see. Oh, here we go. I think I got it. Let's see.
I mean, mine is playing in the background. I think only I.
Everyone see it?
We have heart disease, and this is our camp.
I'm gonna need you to raise your glass. I don't care what you put in it. Here's the nights that you can't take back. We live hard, but we love to laugh. We all thought that we'd get rich fast. Hopped the plane out for greener grass. Found out the green is cash. Don't compare to the friends that last. See, we won't forget where we came from. The city won't change us. We beat to the same drum. No, we won't forget where we came from. The city can't change us. We beat to the same drum, the same drum. No matter where we go, we always find a way back home. No matter where we go. Here's to the cheap sunglasses, Red Bull and minivans. People who had your back when the world didn't understand. See, we won't forget where we came from. The city won't change us. We beat to the same drum. No, we won't forget where we came from. The city can't change us. We beat to the same drum, the same drum. No matter where we go, we always find a way back home. No matter where we go, we always find a way back home. When time's something we're losing touch and fading away, we'll still be raising our cups to the same damn thing. Oh no, this city won't change us. 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 Won't change us. No matter where we go, we always find a way back home. No matter where we go, we always find a way back home. When time's something we're losing touch and fading away, we'll still be raising our cups to the same damn thing. Oh no, this city won't change us. 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 Won't change us. No matter where we go, we always find a way back home. No matter where we go, we always find a way back home. No matter where we go, we always find a way back home. We always find a way back home. Yeah, we always find a way back home.
Keith, that is a fantastic video. And the one thing Keith won't tell you is all the hard work that he does with Dr. Zinn and Dr. Russo. Oops.
Is that you or me?
Okay, so what Keith does not tell you is all the hard work he does with Dr. Zinn and Dr. Russo to put on this heart camp every year. And I know Danielle and Amanda both had kids go to heart camp in the last year. I don't know, Danielle, do you want to just talk about Jameson going to heart camp? And because I saw him making a debut in the video, so.
Oh, I was bawling my eyes out. I've probably seen the video like 20 times. I can't believe how short his hair is, honestly. But it is, we've done family camp probably 3 or 4 times on top of him only. He's gone to heart camp twice. Unfortunately, only once was overnight stay because of COVID. Every morning, like for example, this past heart camp at the beginning of June, he had to take a bus. We had to go to Children's South, and he would have to get up at 6:30 in the morning. And literally, it was the first week of no school, so most kids are like, "Yay, sleeping." He was up and at 'em. He was more like he was up Like even Friday, I'm like, oh, it's just going to be a rough one because this is 5 days in a row. And he's like up ready, but his clothes were already set out, everything. He was so bummed he couldn't do the overnight stay, but we were just so blessed to have something. One of our good friends, we met about 4 or 5 years ago. We introduced their son, Vince, to come, and now they're like best buds. And, on separate from Heart Camp, he was at a birthday party, Jameson's birthday party. I think Jameson had about 3 or 4 Heart Camp buddies at his birthday party this past September, a couple weeks ago. Just these lifelong friends that he met when he was 8, 9 years old. I can just tell that they're going to be friends forever because they just have that bond. And the stories he tells me, like his older brother wants to be a counselor so bad because he wants to go. So you can't really express it. I would be a liar if I said the first year he went at 8 years old and I didn't get to speak with him for a couple of days. It was very worrisome. Didn't affect him at all. He was too busy to even be homesick. So I highly recommend it. It's a blast. It's a blast for the parents too. It's nice to go there when you do check in and you see and you're like, okay, we are not the only ones. Like there are a lot of heart kiddos out there. This is a family. This is a community. This is not just, us. We're not the only ones going through this. So, and my last thing is, I think the best part about it is the education part about it. I love they have the doctor patient question part where the kids are allowed to ask questions about what is their condition and why do I have this condition and what is this medicine and why do I have this? And, I can sit down with Jameson and talk to him about it, but he's just like, yeah, Mom, okay. But when a doctor and there's other kids in the room, they're like, yeah, I take that medicine too. And yeah, I had that surgery too. It's completely different than when it's just like his dad and I trying to explain to him, what's going on. So it is the biggest blessing ever. And I cannot wait to get back to it next June. Like we're ready. We're like waiting for signups. So anyway, sorry.
Well, next time you can do the presentation on Heart Camp.
Amanda, your son went too, right?
Yes, this was actually his first year. His first year should have been 2019, but Kyler had just had open heart surgery. And then in 2020, he should have gone, but unfortunately COVID hit. So he participated virtually. So it was kind of cool that he got a little taste of it, but he really was kind of disappointed. Then this past year we went and it was just day camp. However, instead of putting him on the bus, because I'm too worried some of a mom, we actually camped up at Bear Run Campground with another Heart family and we drove them back and forth. And it was so great because Kyler he felt like a star because everyone knew the kids' names. We'd pull up and like 50 people would write, hey, Kyler. And it's this really cool thing that he came out of his shell. He tried kayaking, archery. Oh my goodness. The little pontoon boats where they go up and down. I was like, how do you know where to stop? What if you get on the river? He's like, Mom, we're fine. We don't go that far. Yeah, they go far, but they love it. And his first comment to me after the first day when we picked him up was, man, I really wish it was sleepover camp because I feel like it would be even better. And I'm like, whoa, pump the brakes. Like Mom's just adjusting this here. But it was amazing to see the self-confidence that he came home with. He actually got burnt on one day because he finally took off his swim shirt when he was swimming because he was around other kids with the same scars and he wasn't as self-conscious. And what was really great about that was at the beginning of summer. And then at my parents' house with his cousins and friends all summer, he didn't want to wear a swim shirt, which is really huge because I believe in our kids' confidence and knowing that even though they're different, they're not. And we want them to know that we love them just the way they are. So that was my biggest takeaway this year was that he's definitely showing more and more confidence in his scar and who it is as a part of him. It's not all of him, but it is a part of him. So I echo Danielle's sentiments 100%. Parents, I'll tell you, I am the worrisome most parent ever. If I can get over it, you can too. Send your kids, go check out family camp, do Heart Camp, come and go to the Turner picnic. I love that day too. That is something that's just so wonderful that they do. Keith and everyone has been fantastic. So take advantage of this really great thing. We have so many families that I know across the US and they were like, man, I really wish I could go to Heart Camp. I'm like, sorry, only Pittsburgh families. So it's an exclusive thing that we get to take advantage of. So please do that.
Thank you for all your kind words. They mean a lot.
I would highly recommend doing family camp, especially like if with when your baby's going to become of age, which is 8. They have to be 8 by the beginning of June. Familiarize yourself with the camp. It'll make you feel a lot more comfortable. I think family camp definitely helped us a lot, being able to say, okay, go.
Keith, when
Thank
is family camp compared to like the regular camp? I can't remember.
Well, family camp is usually September and October. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it again this year. So if anybody's having a child who's going to come to camp for the first time next year, they're going to have to do it without experiencing family camp, but we'll take good care of them, as you can tell.
Well, thank you guys for sharing. I'm going
Thank you,
to
yeah.
have, thanks again. I'm going to have Danielle talk about Jameson's Army, which is the local support group that does a lot for the Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh and all the exciting things they do. So Danielle, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jennifer. So a little background real quick. My name is Danielle McCain. I have a son named Jameson. He just turned 11. Sadly, he was diagnosed with hypoplastic left heart when he was 18 weeks in my belly. So we went through the whole process with the cardiologists and the hospital and doing the tours and getting ourselves prepped. So I was very blessed that I knew prior that we were going to have these complications before he was born. Sadly, but not sadly, sort of, because I hate to say it's bad because it's not, it's just a life lesson. But Jameson lived at Children's Hospital, and not to scare anyone, but he was there for a little over 2 years. Really never ever came home just due to complications to surgeries, living in the hospital. But we were very blessed that we live in Pittsburgh. I actually grew up in the South Side, so my parents are there. My husband and I, we now live out in Cecil Township, so we're very close to the hospital. So having that support group was very helpful in our voyage. So Jameson was a hypoplastic left heart. He had a failed Glenn, many open heart surgeries, and then he was listed for a transplant, which we were blessed with a new heart for him when he was 11 months old. We still had to stay in hospital for a while because there were some other complications. So through that time, and the reason I'm telling you this is because living at the hospital for 2 years and then going and coming back and going and coming back, and even now he's 11 years old. We do still spend a lot of time at the hospital, whether it's clinic or caths or surgeries or other complications due to his underlying condition. I was able to learn what a family should have while they're at the hospital. So my main goal with running the foundation of Jameson's Army is helping the families, the staff, and the faculty to get them what they need to make their lives better, their situations better. So some of the things that we have done, because we started fundraising, and the main, I should go back, the main thing that clicked in my head of starting this foundation was when we spent our second Thanksgiving dinner there. We were walking around. My mom brought in a big cooler of food, homemade turkey, and there were people eating chicken fingers, and there were people had nothing, and they had no Thanksgiving. And it's like, just because you're in the hospital, why can't you have Thanksgiving? And yes, they could have went down to the cafeteria and got, the catered Thanksgiving, but they were sitting alone, they were eating alone. And it just clicked to me, like, next year, no way, like, we're not having Thanksgiving like this at this hospital. So that's when we primarily started the foundation, was providing being at the hospital, being there, serving Thanksgiving. This past year with COVID is the first Thanksgiving in 11 years that I haven't spent at Children's Hospital, just because we weren't allowed. But my husband and I and my volunteers, we're there, we're serving homemade, what's catered, but it is I'm very specific with my caterer of making it as homemade as possible, Thanksgiving food. On top of that, I took everything that I learned from the hospital, and even still, and threw it into providing it for the hospital. So If you're on 7A, you'll notice that there is a room actually now named after Jameson, which is where, unfortunately, we haven't been able to much lately because of COVID. But prior to COVID, we would go to Costco and buy an unlimited amount of just coffee, perishable items, granola bars. I knew that it's impossible when you have a 3-month-old crying and you're starving to go down to the 3rd floor, wait for the elevator, get a granola bar. You can't be back in 30 seconds like you could if I was able to provide you with something like that, just to hold you over until a volunteer or a spouse or something could come. So that's what we put in that 7A pantry. We've provided a coffee maker in there, a toaster, a refrigerator. And like I said, we fill it at least once a month, or at least we bring a drop once a month, and then the nurses and the volunteers allocate it throughout the month, filling it with things that could just hold you over, or even your kids or your siblings, just, granola bars and juice boxes and things like that. That's one of my favorite things to do, because I could just remember how hard it was being there by myself, because my husband was dealing with my other children. And it would have been nice to just been able to step away and grab a bag of chips or something. And it's also costly. It all adds up. You're there for 2 years. We start doing parking passes for families, 21 days, $21 a day to park when you're there for 2 years. I mean, it does eventually, once you're there so long, it goes to zero, but all it takes is for you to go home for one night, and then you come back the next day and you start back down at ground zero, and it's like $21 a day. It's crazy. But like I said, we do the Meals from the Heart, the Thanksgiving. We do 5 meals a year: Thanksgiving, Mother's Day, 4th of July. We do one in October, and I'm missing one, St. Patrick's Day, where we come in and we feed all the faculty, staff, and all the patients and their families. And we've provided rocking chairs. I could just remember, when he was a little baby, I had no way to rock him. I had no way to comfort him. And then one of my favorite things we do is we provide the Green Heart pillows, which every open heart surgery kid gets. And it is to comfort them after they have open heart surgery. Even though some of the littles who can't hold these while they cough to help with respiratory issues, they are, as you can see, Jameson's, they do get signed by the nurses and the doctors. And it's a great keepsake for the kids to show their battle scars. And just a bunch of other things. I just always think of random things to help the families, laundry detergent. I'm a big siblings advocate. I know how hard it was for my 3-year-old, he was 3 when Jameson was born. Colin, he's now almost 15, but it takes a toll on them. So a lot of times, if I find out about a child that's in the hospital that maybe might be a couple months old, I always ask about the siblings. And I now, because of COVID, you can Amazon them things. So we are all about fundraising and spreading awareness and using that funding to help the families primarily. We participate in Nurses Week. We participate in Doctors Week, taking cookies, candies to just show our appreciation. So that's more what we're for. We're not really like a research side or educational side. We are just for comforting those families that are in need. So a lot of people reach out to us. A lot of secondary people reach out to us and say, hey, my coworker is going through this. And so we find a way to at least put a smile on their face, even if it's for a minute. So not very traditional, but more loving is what we kind of are. So anyway, sorry. I feel like I
saw on Instagram that you guys had on Instagram, I saw that you guys had your golf event this weekend.
Finally.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked really fun.
It was a blast. It was very different than years past, but at least it was something. It was a sellout per usual. We just have the best supporters and the best volunteers. I have a board of directors of 14, very all over the place. Some are doctors of children. Some, are not even moms, or some are moms that just want to, they feel so blessed that they have healthy children that they want to give back, so a lot of dads. I have 5 men on my board of directors, which is, not uncommon, but you know, like you wouldn't think so many men are so active, but yeah, they really are. But yeah, we had it and it was a success. So we're finally making some fundraising cash and hopefully be back at it doing something big. So Heart Camp.
We appreciate all you
Or
do.
Heart Camp.
We appreciate all you do because you fed me a couple meals throughout the 8 years I've been here. So much appreciated. So
Thank
I know
you so much.
everyone appreciates. And the snack room is great. We posted it on Instagram so you know where it is.
I saw that. It's beautiful. Yeah, I love it. I just, COVID stinks, man. I wish there's just so much, especially when we come in and we're impatient and I'm like, my mind just starts going, or like somebody will text me and say like, where do you keep the snacks? And I'm like, we don't have any there right now because we can't. I try to sneak a little bit in. Don't tell anyone, but although this is being recorded, I try to do what I can, but it's just hopefully soon. And the Beanie Babies in the cath lab, that's always my favorite. I get so many compliments about how the kids, it's such a distraction for them to pick which one they want before they go in to having this procedure and they're not with their parents. And so I miss that and I can't wait to get back at it.
Well, thank you again. We really appreciate Jameson's Army. It's been great at our hospital. So thank you. So Amanda, do you want to talk about Mended Little Hearts, which you're a part of?
Yes, I'm going to see if I can share my screen because you know me, is it working?
Yeah, you're good. We can see it.
Okay, yay. All right, now let's see if I can present. There we go. Sorry. You'd think that after COVID and everything, I'd be a little bit more technologically savvy, but I'm not, ashamedly. Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda Stewart. I am with Mended Little Hearts. I'm the visiting outreach coordinator here with our Southwestern PA group. I'm also the regional director for our Central region, and I'm on the board for the Mended Hearts Inc. Board. So there's my cell phone and my email address. If anyone else wants to reach out as well, Dr. Johnson has my information that she can get that information to you all. So again, I'm Amanda. I'm a mom to Heart Kid Kyler. He's the little guy in blue that's right next to me. Evelyn is my daughter, and then Riley is my oldest son. Great looking group of kids, if you ask me, but I'm a little biased. So my ride's a little bit different. I know a lot of you are learning of this prenatally, which I think is wonderful. Some people think not. It gives you time to prepare, but it can also add a whole new level of stress that I couldn't even imagine. Kyler was born with tetralogy of Fallot, so that's also why I like listening to Mr. Keith, because it's wonderful to hear someone that has had such an amazing, fulfilling life with Kyler's diagnosis, and to know that, again, I know that Heart Camp gives hope, but Mr. Keith gives me hope just knowing him and everything. So anyway, sorry. I remember finding out his diagnosis. We were 2 days in the NICU. He was just struggling and we didn't know why. They called for a cardiologist. They told me, don't worry, it's going to be nothing. Well, it turned out to be something pretty big. And I remember hearing that he had holes in his heart and he was going to need surgery. My trauma was actually so heavy. I did not realize that he had tetralogy of Fallot until he was actually 2 months old because I couldn't process. I remember feeling guilty, like, what did I do to cause this? Because we all know moms don't carry enough guilt on a regular basis. We have to add to it. I was mad. You know, this little baby had done nothing wrong. He hadn't had a French fry. He didn't smoke. Like, how could this be happening? And then sadness, because I felt robbed of a typical birth. My older son was 3 and was so looking forward to his little brother, but he didn't get to have that experience with him. When Riley would come visit in the NICU, we would hide Skittles and Snickers in Kyler's little bed so that he would see, like, oh, what did the baby brother have for me today? Because we were trying to bribe him to come in. So, because it can be a very scary environment. And of course, that's like my favorite meme that I made. Like, if Chuck Norris had a baby, he would be half as tough as these kids, because we know how amazing our kids are. So then I'm a heart mom. So now what? And my sister is a dental hygienist who overshares when she's talking to her patients. And she happened to talk about Kyler and his diagnosis and needing surgery to a patient. And the patient was like slapping her hand to stop cleaning her teeth. And the woman was like, my son has a heart defect as well. Here's a surgeon, here's a cardiologist, and then you need to find this group called Mended Little Hearts. I contacted Andrea Bear, who was the original founder of our chapter group. And it was really amazing because 3 reasons. Like, I'm not alone. I know some days we can feel like it, and some it feels even on days, but you're truly not. There are other people who have gone through this. Now, our experiences are all vastly different and can be similar, but not the same. But everyone has felt the things that you're going through. These people really understand where I'm coming from. My family and my friends tried to understand, but nobody could fully understand everything that I was going through, because my mom was experiencing a grandma of a CHDer, but also she's trying to comfort me as a mom. Well, how can she do that when she's never had a child with CHD? And then no matter what, we were going to be okay. We would get through this. And so here's Kyler in his wild ride. And he is such a cute kid. His nickname is the Honey Badger because jokingly we say he doesn't care about anything. I'll keep it family safe for everybody, but he's a very tough kid. So his first surgery, my experience is a little bit different than Danielle's, and by little I mean a lot. For both of Kyler's open heart surgeries, we were in and out of the hospital in 4 days. So we say that Kyler's lucky number is 4 because tetralogy means 4 in Greek. He was 4 months old at his first surgery. He had it in April, and then we got out in 4 days, and both surgeries were in April. But this kid has gone through so many hours of cardiology, pediatrician appointments, EKGs, echoes. In my hand in the second picture, you can see that I'm holding little orange things. Those are nerds. I've used nerds, chocolate chips, anything to help him get through these procedures because I didn't want to have to rely on Versed if we didn't need to. But there have been so many where I'm sure his teeth were rotting out of his head because I'm like, no, another nerd, and it works. So we do what we got to do to get through it. And then, of course, I worried for many years, and I still do. He's 10 years old now. He's in 5th grade, and the second surgery was a renewal on his life. He's doing fabulously across the board, but of course, we moms, we still worry. And the way that I've managed, or at least tried to, over the last 10 years was a lot of support found through Mended Little Hearts. It was just a whole new level that I was able to get this support from and understand processing everything. And then I talk to everyone. I'm a big talker, as poor Danielle and Keith have heard so many times of me doing this speech. I talk to everybody about everything. And one of my biggest memories is when my son was 2 months old before heart surgery. We were out to dinner and someone was like, oh, he's so cute. I'm like, thanks. He needs to have heart surgery. And my husband was like, they don't care, Amanda. They don't care. But my point is I talk to everyone because the more people that I teach about this, the less people are going to be caught off guard like I was, which is why I raise awareness. I like going to events. I like talking about this. I like letting people know that they are not alone. And then, of course, I started volunteering a little bit at the local level and then the national level, and then providing support to each other. And I wrote this presentation, I think, prior to COVID. So like, please ignore me for using that new normal because everyone hates that word now because that's overused with COVID. But with heart families, it's the best way to explain it. It ebbs and flows. Some days I help others, and then other days I need help getting up off the floor. There are days where you feel great and everything's going well, and then you get new information, and then there's an adjustment, and then it's a new normal until it feels normal again. And it's kind of like a wild roller coaster ride. Sometimes you're just enjoying the coasting through, and then the other days, you're going up and you're wondering when you're going to come down. And what's really great about this group is that everyone can determine the level of support they want to do for themselves. You can choose how you want to do it, if you want to share it, and how you want to pay it forward. So now let's get to Mended Little Hearts that we've talked too much about me. Mended Little Hearts was started in 2004. Mended Hearts is our original organization. It is for adults with acquired heart disease, and that was started in 1951. We're actually the oldest support group next to AA. We have over 300 chapters and groups. We've partnered with 460 hospitals, and we have a lot of ways to connect. There's a free membership, which can connect you to other parents for parent matching and support, joining your local Mended Little Hearts group. Like I said, ours here in Pittsburgh is Southwestern PA because we like to encompass the greater Pittsburgh area. Children's Hospital reaches out to a lot of families in a lot of areas. Parent matching. And then we also have a strong presence on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I don't TikTok yet, but eventually I'll figure it out. CHD awareness. The reason I raise awareness and that we work so hard with Mended Little Hearts to do this, not only the support side, but also the awareness, is because CHDs are the most common birth defect in the US. It affects approximately every 1 in 110 kids. So in February, that's Heart Month and Heart Week. We do a lot of things. We do Facts, Rock Your Scars. We do CHD awareness at local levels, proclamations by the local and state governments. And we work really hard to get those because we think it's very important to recognize our kids and what they go through. Some of the various ways that we offer support, which I kind of talked about, when you become a member, you get that peer-to-peer support, which is really awesome because it's not just a mom to a mom. If you are a dad who wants to talk to another dad, or siblings or grandparents or friend, aunts, uncles, we really pride ourselves on having that level of support because sometimes, you know, a dad, I can talk to a dad, but my experience as a mom and the way women process sometimes versus men is completely different. So it's really important to make sure that we have that peer-to-peer level. Some other things that we do are our bravery bags. That is the tan bag right here on the table. And what it is we drop those off to the child life workers. I saw Lauren in the video from Miss Kate, they're wonderful. They take these bags and they provide them to families that are inpatient on the 7A. And what's in there is just some things for some families, toiletries, some snacks, some things for your kids, and then information about our group should you want to reach out. Some other things we do are ER packs, cath lab bags. Those are for kids that are coming in for a day procedure or stop into the ER. We want to make sure that they have some comforts too to help them get through those procedures or unfortunate urgent visit to the ER. We do pantry drops-offs as well. We participate in the Jameson's Pantry. We are still providing drop-offs every month. We had to finagle how we're doing it a little bit because we can't bring things in. So our group started ordering things directly from different stores and having them shipped directly to the hospital. There was a brief period of time where we were able to drop off stuff and that was great, but then we kind of had to go back to shipping things. We do that at this CHP. We also do it at the children's home down the street. We do angel boxes for our families that have had to say goodbye. We do community events and we do a lot of meetings. And I think what's really cool about us having Mended Little Hearts in Pittsburgh, having Jameson's Army, there's another awesome group called Zachary's Mission. They give Zach packs. All these, and then we have Children's Heart Foundation, which of course raises money for research, and then Healing Hearts now with the hospital and Heart Camp. And what's really great about, I think, all of these groups is that while we all come together on providing support to families at some level, we all vary in what we do. So Danielle is fantastic about the fundraising and bringing things in that are essential to the families and staff that are at CHP. Zachary's Mission provides backpacks and they'll do a lot of gas cards and things like that for families. We provide support. We don't do financial assistance, but that's where the other two groups kind of like we balance each other really well. And then Children's Heart Foundation does the research. So I think we live in a really great city where we have all of these resources, but instead of it being a competition, I feel like we work really well together, which I think is pretty amazing. And then of course we can connect you with other families. We have a Mended Little Hearts guide, which is a really great resource. It kind of helps process as you're going through everything. It gives families tips, no medical advice. We're not doctors, but coming from a parent, sometimes I look back and I think, man, why didn't I think of this? So it's kind of a how-to from parents that have gone through it. And it kind of gives you a blueprint how to navigate. And then some other cool things that we do a Power of Pictures program on social media. We have a Heartbeat magazine that's produced quarterly. We do a Rock Your Scar contest, and I call it a contest, but it's actually just really fun. It's an awareness, and it's really to help patients with and without scars, because you don't have to have a physical scar to show how you live your life with a CHD. And we've had some really great, interesting pictures submitted. My son participates every year. He comes up with it and designs it, and it's very empowering. And then we have a Mended Little Hearts blog. And now that I just threw all of that information at you, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I tend to talk really fast, and I know that, but I can't stop it. I'm 43 and I can't change now. But I can tell you that this is a program that I truly believe in. When I first started 11 years ago, I never would have thought that I'd be at a place where I could feel comfortable enough to support others and do all of these things, because it was just so overwhelming that I remember feeling like I was drowning and I didn't know how to swim. And the reason I think and I believe in this group so much is because I think that it helps you get through those moments. And I'm not saying that we even do anything special. It's just that support that we give, and we let families know that we are here for you. We have I'm going to say a 1-800 number, and I'm going to say, I feel like that's wrong, but we have like a support line where you can call, and there are people that man it. We have virtual visits. We've started doing things thanks to COVID. We've been providing iPads to hospitals so that families can still meet with us for virtual support, but it's on these iPads that we provide. And I can't stress enough to you, there are days where it's going to be tough. There were days where I would cry in the shower and not want to come out. And I would have friends that would say, "Oh, you're so strong. I don't know how you do what you do." Well, we don't have a choice. I had a 3-year-old. I had a baby in the hospital. I had a husband that was working because one of us still needed to work at that time. And we're not strong. We just put on a very good mask. And I think knowing that you have this support during this time, there's nothing wrong with asking for help. There's nothing wrong with reaching out. And we want to make sure that we try to decrease that stigma for asking help and saying that you need it. And I really would like to stress that to everyone today. Thank you so much for giving me some time and yapping your ears off, but it's something I'm very passionate about, and I hope that shows. Thank you.
Amanda, thank you so much for sharing. 2 questions. If families want to get involved in Mended Little Hearts, is it Facebook or Instagram? Or how do they usually on social media?
Sorry, I muted myself. I thought the talking portion was over. We have a national Facebook group, which is wonderful. They put out a lot of the national events, but then we also have an SWPA group here in Pittsburgh. That's the one that I run. If people want to reach out, if they can't find other information, they can find me through that. That's where I put a lot of things. I'd like to say that I'm technologically savvy to figure out how to do a personal Instagram and a business Instagram. I've not figured it out yet. So a lot of things go on Facebook for our group. I also attempted to tweet. Cannot do that either. So I need to get some young people involved. If anyone would be interested in helping an old lady navigate social media, I will gladly take the help. But Facebook would definitely be your best place to go. So you want to look for Mended Little Hearts, and it could be MLH of SWPA. And if you wanted to get involved further, we have a website where you can go, you can join as an associate member. That is the free level. We want to make sure anybody who wants to join, it is free. There are levels that if you would like to donate and pay it forward financially, of course, we're volunteer based. We need money to do the things that we do. So we don't discourage that, but we want to make sure that everybody can join at a free level. And if you need that information, I can get that to you too.
And I also have a copy of your talk. So if anyone would like a copy of Amanda's talk, just email the perinatal email and I will send it to you because we have it on our Google Drive. So thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it every time. So thank you so much. So we have one more speaker tonight. Gina is from the American Heart Association in Erie, and I invited her to talk briefly about the program there since most people know that's where I do my outreach clinic. And, just a lot of my patients have joined this great group. So I'm just really excited, invite everyone and sort of learn more about it.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. And thank you to all of those that are supporting this amazing group of families. I have so much respect and admiration for all of you after sitting through your speeches today. I am the director of the American Heart and Stroke Association for Erie, Crawford, Warren, Mercer, and Chautauqua counties. And I've been in this role for 35 years. And I have been blessed to know many Heart Hero families in our community. In 2009, one of our Heart Hero families approached me asking for support in our region. Unfortunately, in Erie, Pennsylvania, and Northwest PA, we don't have a heart camp or some of the other resources that you affectionately shared today. So the American Heart and Stroke Association quickly collaborated with one of our local board members who is also a survivor, Marguerite Simonowski. And she is actually helping manage about 50 Heart Hero families in our community. And I want to give a very special thank you to the Bucci and Newland families for connecting me with Dr. Johnson today. I was so honored to be able to be here today to talk about the things that we do together. And as some of you mentioned earlier, it really is a family for us in our community, bringing these resources that we have to our families, which include things like peer-to-peer support, opportunities for these children to participate in activities in the community that they normally wouldn't have an opportunity to do. There is no cost ever to any family to join. My job as your staff partner is to raise those critical funds and encourage our sponsors to activate their sponsorships by embracing our Heart Hero families. So for example, ABC company may decide to sponsor the Heart Walk or a Heart Ball or Go Red for Women, and they speak specifically about their care and love of children or children's activities. And then we start to do a deeper dive on how they can support our families through gifts to that program. We've been able to do some pretty incredible things. Lecom Health here a few years ago sponsored a Bayhawks basketball event, which is a special camp just for our Heart and Stroke Hero children, which by the way, range in age from 2 all the way to 13 years old. And this basketball camp was specially designed by the Erie Bayhawks and Lecom Health to create a safe environment for those high-risk children to learn how to, you know, the basic skills of basketball, how to play basketball in a safe environment with peers that are facing similar challenges. And so that was really great. And I think someone mentioned earlier how some of the families have become best friends with each other. And that really resonated with me because it's been something that we've seen happen here, which I take great pride in. For example, we have one of our first Heart Heroes, sadly, who is right now being bullied at school. And our other Heart Hero families are wrapping their loving arms around him, offering him support, offering him guidance, and certainly lifting him up in what is a trying time as a young teen. All of these things are happening quite organically and naturally. And I'm so proud of the work the American Heart and Stroke Association does in our community to support these families. They also help us. We've actually had our little young artists create thank you gifts for our sponsors. And it's been a win-win for our children to create a special piece of artwork that we are able to present to a local sponsor as a thank you. Has been such a meaningful way for us to say thank you to those who are stepping up for our young Heart Heroes in our community. So I am traveling actually today, and I apologize that I don't have a fancy presentation. Actually, my 5-year-old grandson has been in the Cleveland Clinic Children's Hospital. He had a major and very dangerous asthma attack, but I will tell you he's doing better. And I'm starting to really understand what you all have been through. And my heart is with all of you. Dr. Johnson does know how to reach me. She's got my email and my cell phone number. I am available anytime. We also have a private Facebook group that's managed by our survivor volunteer, Marguerite, who is one of the most caring and compassionate human beings I've ever known, with some gentle guidance from her friends at the American Heart Association, and we are happy to welcome any new families to our group with loving arms. And you will love our families here. They're some of the most beautiful people I've ever met. And I'm so proud to be able to offer this program, which is pretty unique to the American Heart and Stroke Association in our community. But you know, again, is something that's very organic and very authentic to our mission. So thank you for the opportunity to be here today. There's so much more to learn about our mission and the work that we're doing in our community. But again, I have so much respect for you all and for Dr. Johnson, for you as well. Thank you so much. Any questions for me?
I don't think we do, but I do have your handout. So if anyone's from the Erie area and would like to join, my patients always talked about the baseball game you hosted. That was like how I learned about your program, how amazing the baseball game was. So, you know, we have a lot of patients from Erie that have joined and are really appreciative of all the things that the American Heart Association does for them. So thank you so
I
much.
love that. Yeah, Dr. Johnson, we've had baseball. We had all the teams, actually. The hockey team, Lily got to go out on the ice. We've done the baseball, we've done the basketball. We're very blessed that we have strong relationships, and we leverage those relationships to support our families as well. So thanks again for the opportunity to be here tonight. I'm so grateful.
Well, thank you very much. Well, everyone, I think that concludes our program tonight. I want to thank all the speakers so much for all the things they've done, all the sharing. If there's anything specific you need to know, or you have any questions, please reach out to the perinatal cardiology email. We can sort of head you that way after, you know, with that email, and send it to either any of our speakers. It sounds like we are going to do a webinar in February with the adult congenital team, and sort of transition to adult congenital, which can be a little different. So we are going to see, I know for a lot of the parents it's far away, but you know, just sort of what does it mean to transition to adult congenital clinic? It's you know, it can be a little stressful. So we're thinking about doing that in February. So if you follow us on Instagram, we will be able, we'll send out our advertisement for that probably end of January. So just keep watching us on Instagram, CHP Healing Hearts. We really appreciate it. Thank you all to the speakers for coming. Again, if you have any questions, please send us an email and I will get them answered for you. So everyone have a lovely evening. Thank you so much for coming.